There's something profound happening to those who've truly embraced the practice of Ho'oponopono, a silent transformation, almost imperceptible to the outside world, yet revolutionary for those living it. If you found yourself naturally distancing from certain situations, people or environments without knowing exactly why, know that you're not alone in this journey. This distancing isn't an escape from life, but rather a movement toward real life, toward the pure essence of being. Dr. Hew Len, in his deepest teachings, always spoke about how the constant cleaning of memories leads us to a completely different state of being. When we begin to truly practice, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you," something extraordinary happens in our energetic field. It's not just a change in thinking, but an alteration in the very vibrational frequency we emit to the world. This silence isn't isolation, it's discernment. When we clean layers upon layers of old memories, family programs, and collective patterns, we naturally begin to perceive that many of the social interactions we once considered normal are actually energetic exchanges based on drama, complaints, judgment, and negativity. Our inner being, increasingly cleaner and aligned with divinity, simply no longer resonates with these dense frequencies. It's as if we develop a new kind of spiritual hearing. We start listening not just to the words people speak, but to the energy behind them. We notice when someone's sharing from a place of love versus when they're dumping their unprocessed memories on us. This new perception doesn't make us superior or judgmental. On the contrary, it fills us with deep compassion, but it also teaches us to protect our newly purified energy. Morna Simeona, the creator of modern Ho'oponopono, used to say that when we take 100% responsibility for everything that appears in our experience, we begin to live in a completely new way. We no longer react automatically to external triggers. We don't get involved in others' dramas anymore. We don't feed conversations that drain our vital energy. This distancing is therefore a sign of spiritual maturity, an indicator that the cleaning is working. As we deepen our Ho'oponopono practice, something beautiful yet challenging happens. Our relationships begin to go through a natural purification process. People who were once a constant part of our social circle start to distance themselves, not from anger or conflict, but simply because there's no longer energetic resonance. It's as if we were musical instruments being tuned to a different frequency, more harmonious, and we naturally distance ourselves from those still vibrating in out-of-tune notes. This transformation can be initially confusing or even painful. We question whether we're being antisocial, whether we've lost our ability to connect, whether something's wrong with us. But actually, what's happening is exactly the opposite. We're developing our capacity for true, authentic connection based on unconditional love instead of need, habit, or social convenience. Dr. Hew Len used to talk about how, when we clean our memories related to certain people, those people either change their behavior toward us or naturally distance themselves from our lives. It's not magic, it's spiritual quantum physics. When we stop feeding the dysfunctional patterns we maintained with someone, when we stop responding to their triggers with our triggers, the entire dynamic transforms. If the other person isn't ready for this new, healthier dynamic, they instinctively pull away. The cleaning process also makes us more sensitive to the energies around us. We begin to perceive when an environment is loaded with unresolved tensions, when a conversation's being fueled by wounded egos instead of open hearts, when a social gathering is more about performance than genuine connection. Our heightened sensitivity makes us naturally seek more harmonious spaces, more conscious people, deeper and more meaningful conversations. If this message is touching your heart in some special way, if you're also going through this silent transformation, I'd really love to know. Your journey matters to me. Your experience can illuminate the path for other souls living similar processes. Share in the comments how Ho'oponopono has transformed your relationships, your questions, your discoveries. And if this conversation is making sense to your soul, consider joining our spiritual family here on the channel. Your presence makes our community stronger and more loving. There's a deeply spiritual phenomenon that happens with dedicated Ho'oponopono practitioners, an inner call for periods of retreat. It's not depression, it's not antisocial behavior, it's not laziness or lack of love for people. It's a sacred invitation from our own soul for moments of profound silence, where true transformation happens away from the world's eyes. This retreat manifests differently for each person. Some feel a growing need to stay home, creating a personal sanctuary where they can practice cleaning without external interference. Others begin declining social invitations they would have automatically accepted before, not from disinterest in people, but because they feel their time and energy are too precious to spend on activities that don't nourish their soul. There are still those who develop a preference for solitary activities they once considered boring: long walks in nature, contemplative moments, extended meditative practices. Dr. Hew Len spoke about the importance of honoring these internal impulses. He said that when divinity is working deeply in our being, sometimes we need to create a sacred space of quietude for this work to happen without interference. It's like a butterfly inside its cocoon. There's a transformation process happening that requires privacy, protection, and time. The outside world may not understand this movement. Friends might feel rejected, family members might worry, colleagues might question our behavior change. But those who truly walk the Ho'oponopono path learn to trust this inner wisdom, even when it goes against social expectations. They understand that this retreat isn't permanent, but rather a natural cycle of purification and renewal. During these retreat periods, something magical happens. Free from external distractions and demands, our capacity to hear divinity's voice amplifies dramatically. We begin receiving profound insights about our life mission, about old patterns that need cleaning, about the direction our soul wants to take. This time alone with ourselves isn't loneliness. It's communion with the sacred that dwells within us. It's important to understand that this distancing isn't a rejection of the world or people, but rather a preparation to return to the world in a more conscious, more loving, more aligned way. Like a spiritual warrior who retreats to sharpen his weapons before battle, the Ho'oponopono practitioner retreats to purify his instrument, which is himself, before resuming his mission to serve the world with more clarity and effectiveness. When we dive deeply into Ho'oponopono practice, one of the most striking transformations is developing a new perception of reality. We begin seeing the world through completely different lenses, as if we'd removed blurry glasses we didn't know we were wearing. This new vision is simultaneously a gift and a challenge, as it makes us aware of aspects of human existence that previously went unnoticed. The first significant change is in how we perceive human interactions. Where we once saw casual conversations, we now observe complex, energetic exchanges. We notice when someone's speaking from their unhealed wounds, when they're projecting their fears onto us, when they're seeking external validation to fill internal voids. This perception doesn't make us critical or judgmental, but rather deeply compassionate and also careful with our own energy. Dr. Hew Len always emphasized that when we take 100% responsibility for everything appearing in our experience, we begin to see that nothing is casual, nothing is coincidence. Every person crossing our path, every situation we face, every challenge that arises is there to give us a cleaning opportunity. This understanding completely transforms our relationship with life's apparent problems. They stop being obstacles and become gifts from divinity. With this new perception, we also develop heightened sensitivity to energies and environments. We enter a place and immediately sense whether there's harmony or tension, love or fear, peace or agitation. This sensitivity isn't a burden, but rather a spiritual compass guiding us to where we need to be and away from where we shouldn't remain. That's why many Ho'oponopono practitioners naturally begin avoiding negative environments, toxic conversations, energy-draining people. This transformation in perception also makes us question many of the social structures we once accepted without thinking. We begin seeing how certain family traditions are based on old programs rather than genuine love. We notice how many work environments function through competition and fear instead of collaboration and mutual growth. We observe how much of entertainment and social conversation revolves around drama, gossip, and negativity. One of the most profound experiences happening to dedicated Ho'oponopono practitioners is the gradual awakening to their true mission on Earth. As we clean layers of family, social, and cultural conditioning, we begin hearing our soul's voice more clearly, our unique and sacred purpose in this incarnation. This awakening often explains why we silently distance ourselves from certain people and situations. They simply no longer align with our new spiritual trajectory. This awakening process is rarely dramatic or sudden. It usually manifests as a series of gentle intuitions, meaningful synchronicities, and growing dissatisfaction with activities that once satisfied us. We begin feeling we're wasting our time and energy on things that don't contribute to our spiritual growth or the greater good. This isn't an arrogant or self-centered perspective, but rather the natural result of a heart aligning with its deepest truth. Dr. Hew Len talked about how each person has a zero mission, a unique purpose only they can fulfill in this life. This mission isn't necessarily a career or specific job, but rather a particular way of radiating love, light, and healing to the world. To discover and live this mission, we need to be in constant cleaning, free from ego agendas and others' expectations. The silent distancing from the world, therefore, can be understood as an alignment process with our true mission. When we spend time in sacred solitude, when we reduce external distractions, when we stop trying to please everyone, we create space for our authentic calling to reveal itself. This process requires courage, as often our true mission goes against our families, friends, and society's expectations of us. During this transition period, it's common to experience a sensation of being between worlds. We no longer identify completely with who we were before, but haven't yet fully embodied who we're becoming. This can be a challenging period, marked by deep questioning, priority changes, and yes, natural distancing from people and situations that don't support our spiritual evolution. Dear soul accompanying this journey with me, I feel it's important we pause here for a moment. If you've made it to this point in our conversation, it's because something in your heart recognizes these words as true for your own experience. Maybe you're also going through this silent distancing process, questioning whether you're on the right path, whether it's normal to feel different from the people around you. I'd really love to know your story, your challenges, your discoveries on this journey. In the comments, share with me. How has this awakening process been for you? What changes have you observed in your relationships and priorities? And if there's any specific topic about Ho'oponopono or spiritual growth you'd like me to address in our upcoming meetings, please let me know. Your voice matters, your journey matters, and together we create a community of awakened souls supporting each other on the path back to love. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Ho'oponopono is how it teaches us the art of non-resistance. When we truly understand that we're 100% responsible for everything appearing in our experience, we stop fighting reality and begin working with it in a completely different way. This inner transformation naturally reflects in our external behavior, often resulting in that silent distancing so characteristic of dedicated practitioners. Non-resistance doesn't mean passivity or resignation. It means understanding that when we fight with what is, when we try forcing situations to be different from what they are, we're wasting precious energy that could be directed toward the true solution, cleaning the memories that created that reality in the first place. This understanding completely changes how we handle conflicts, problems, and relational challenges. When someone criticizes us instead of defending ourselves or counterattacking, we remember, this criticism appeared in my experience, therefore there's something in me that needs cleaning. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. When a relationship becomes toxic, instead of trying to change the other person or force the situation to improve, we recognize this toxicity is a reflection of something that needs purifying in me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Now, this practice of non-resistance naturally leads us to a state of greater inner peace, but it can also create distance from people still operating from the paradigm of struggle and resistance. When we no longer react to others' dramas, when we no longer feed conflict dynamics, when we no longer participate in energetic battles, some people might feel uncomfortable around us. They can't hook us into their dysfunctional patterns anymore, and this might make them naturally pull away. Dr. Hew Len frequently talked about how Ho'oponopono practice makes us like water. Fluid, adaptable, always seeking the path of least resistance, but also incapable of being easily trapped or controlled. Water doesn't fight the rocks in the river, it simply flows around them. Similarly, when we encounter people or situations not aligned with our new vibration, we don't fight them. We simply flow to where there's more harmony and peace. This water-like quality can be misinterpreted by others as coldness or indifference, but it's actually the purest expression of love. A love that doesn't need to control, manipulate, or force, but simply is and allows everything to be as it is. while silently working on cleaning the memories that create disharmonies. As our Ho'oponopono practice deepens, we experience a gradual refinement of our spiritual sensitivity that completely transforms our life experience. It's as if we develop new sensory organs capable of perceiving reality dimensions previously invisible to us. This heightened sensitivity is both a blessing and a challenge, as it makes us more capable of perceiving existence's subtle beauty, but also more sensitive to dense and discordant energies. This new sensitivity manifests in many ways. We begin perceiving people's emotions before they even speak. We feel environment's energy as soon as we enter them. We pick up the intentions behind words, clearly distinguishing when someone speaks from love versus when they speak from ego. This sharpened perception can initially be disconcerting, as we discover that much of what we considered normal in human interaction is actually a series of unconscious games, subtle manipulations, and projections of unhealed wounds. With this refined sensitivity, we naturally begin seeking environments and companionship that nourish our soul instead of draining it. This isn't elitist selectivity, but spiritual self-preservation. Just as someone who's developed a refined palate naturally avoids processed foods and seeks pure, nutritious ingredients, we begin avoiding energetic foods that pollute our consciousness and seek spiritual nutrition that elevates our vibration. Dr. Hew Len used to talk about how when we're truly clean, we become like sensitive antennas capable of receiving divinity's subtle communications. But to maintain this sensitivity, we need to protect it from unnecessary interference. That's why many advanced practitioners naturally develop a preference for tranquil environments, deep and meaningful conversations, and consciousness-elevating activities. This refined sensitivity also makes us more aware of our own words and actions' impact on others. We notice how a slightly altered tone of voice can affect an entire conversation's energy, how a mental judgment can create an invisible barrier between us and another person, how impure intention can contaminate even apparently benevolent actions. This awareness leads us to even greater responsibility for our presence in the world. Spiritual sensitivity refinement also connects us more deeply with nature and life's natural cycles. We begin perceiving the messages the universe is constantly sending us through synchronicities, meaningful encounters, and even through nature's elements. A weather change might reflect a necessary change in our inner life. Animals' behavior might teach us about flowing more naturally. The plants in our home might show us what needs nurturing or pruning in our spiritual journey. One of the most profound transformations we experience through consistent Ho'oponopono practice is developing what we might call loving detachment. This isn't the cold and indifferent detachment sometimes misunderstood in spiritual teachings, but rather a way of loving that's free, that doesn't need to control, possess, or manipulate to express itself. It's a love that allows people to be exactly who they are, even if that means they choose to distance themselves from our lives. This loving detachment arises naturally when we truly understand that we're complete in ourselves, that our happiness and peace don't depend on external circumstances or other people's behavior. When we do deep cleaning through Ho'oponopono, we remove layers of neediness, necessity, and emotional dependence that we often confuse with love. What remains is pure love, unconditional, free, needing nothing in return. This transformation can be initially disconcerting for those around us who are accustomed to our previous needier or more controlling versions. Family members might find it strange that we no longer react to family dramas with the same emotional intensity. Friends might feel uncomfortable that we no longer need their constant approval or validation. Romantic partners might feel insecure when they realize we truly love them, but our happiness doesn't depend on them. Dr. Hew Len frequently spoke about how true love is the willingness to let people be free to be exactly who they are, even if that causes pain to our ego. When we love in a detached way, we don't try to fix anyone. We don't try changing them to fit our needs. We don't create dramas to get attention. We simply love and allow love to do its healing work naturally. This loving detachment also manifests in our relationship with results and expectations. We do our part, practice cleaning, radiate love, serve where we're called, but we don't attach to the fruits of our actions. We understand that our only responsibility is keeping our heart clean and our channel open for divinity to work through us. The results are up to the divine. It's important to understand that this detachment doesn't make us cold or insensitive. On the contrary, it makes us more genuinely loving because our love isn't contaminated by hidden agendas, unmet needs, or abandonment fears. When we love from this place of inner completeness, our love becomes a genuine gift instead of an unconscious bargain. After periods of retreat, deep cleaning, and inner transformation, the moment of conscious return to the world inevitably arrives. This return isn't going back to what we were before, but rather a re-engagement movement from a completely new place within us. It's as if we'd gone through an invisible spiritual initiation and now return to society, carrying sacred gifts, not always visible to physical eyes, but that silently transform everything around us. This return to the social world happens naturally and organically. It's not something we force or plan, but something that arises spontaneously when we're ready. It might begin with an unexpected invitation that this time doesn't generate resistance but rather curious openness, or with the emergence of a service opportunity that resonates deeply with our soul, or still with recognizing that a certain person or situation might benefit from our purified presence. The difference is that now we engage with the world from a place of conscious choice instead of social compulsion or emotional need. We participate in social situations not because we should or because we need validation, but because we feel our presence can contribute to elevating the environment's vibration. We maintain relationships not from dependency or habit, but because there's genuine resonance and mutual growth. Dr. Hew Len used to say that when we're truly aligned with divinity, we become instruments of peace wherever we go. Our simple presence, clean and loving, has the power to transform atmospheres, calm conflicts, and awaken the best in people. We don't do this through deliberate words or actions, but simply by being who we've become through practice. This conscious return to the world also marks the beginning of a more refined and effective service phase. Having gone through the personal cleaning process, we can now serve others without projecting our own unresolved issues onto them. We can offer genuine compassion because we no longer need people to be different from what they are to feel good. We can be healing channels because we've removed the blocks that prevented divine love from flowing through us. The Ho'oponopono journey teaches us that silent distancing from the world isn't the final destination, but rather a necessary preparation phase for a more conscious and loving return. It's like breathing. There's a time to inhale, retreat, clean, purify, and a time to exhale, return, serve, share. Both movements are sacred and necessary for a spiritually balanced and meaningful life. When we finally understand that our apparent distancing from the world was actually a deep dive into ourselves, to find the inexhaustible source of love that we are, we realize we never really distanced ourselves from anything. We simply stopped participating in collective illusions to see reality more clearly. And from this clarity emerges a completely new way of living, a life based on love, truth, peace, and selfless service to everyone's good. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. May these words find fertile soil in your heart, where they can germinate and flourish. May your journey back to the truth of who you are be blessed with much peace, clarity, and love. And remember, you never walk alone.